So why PulseChain? Fork of Ethereum, proof of stake, all that stuff. Used to be a fork of BSC. And then we're like, hey, Ethereum actually launched. They actually launched Ethereum 2.0. So it became a fork of Ethereum 2.0. And some of the features, lower transaction costs. That's kind of the lowest common denominator. A lot of times the tip catcher might say it's a newer network. Ideally, we would want gas fees to become expensive later on. That means PLS is worth a lot, right? I talked about that many times before. And it only makes sense when PLS goes down, right? Everyone's like, oh, wow, we want this thing to go up. Because even though there's more expensive gas fees, then that means the coin's probably widely used and better as well. So faster transactions, there's a little bit of tweaks there, some parameter changes. It is so one of the most interesting things about PulseChain is it is a full system state fork. So literally all the copies of the coins you have on Ethereum prior to a block height, that was the fork of PulseChain that became from then on the fork of PulseChain, that you get the same copies on Ethereum, and those can be traded. They may have prices, they may not, they may be worth something, they may not, they may have value to certain people, and they may not. The market will decide. The market has decided up and down the last 3 months since launch. So I'll get into trading a little bit on PulseX and show you PHUX as well, because that's another interesting DEX. But that is one of the key points of PulseChain, is this sort of experiment of, okay, if we take the coins on another network, whether they're connected to the platforms or not, will they have value? What will the market decide? And some people say, oh, that casino portion, some of these aren't redeemable, all that stuff. Again, the people decide whether they have value or not, and they have been on and off, up and down, left, right, and sideways, backflips and everything. Shout out to our friend Soma. A very young network. Again, the price did a 2.5x or something like that on PLS. Hovered maybe a little bit above SAC rate on PulseX, the token of the DEX. I'll show you in a bit. And there's also the incentive token, which you get for farming, providing liquidity and farming on the PulseX exchange. Again, we'll get into that in a minute. And then now we're at this moment in time when we're recording this, it's went down significantly as the bear market in general has brought down a lot of stuff in crypto too. So cheaper fees, faster. It's also proof of stake, and a full system copy of all your coins on PulseChain, ran by a man named Richard Hart, who is near and dear to my heart and many other people. You can learn more about him here, richardhart.com. Talks about all the stuff he does. Pretty cool and interesting guy, in my opinion. Wants to make the world a better place. Does a lot of self-help stuff before. You check out his Twitter, check out his videos. Very ambitious guy, controversial from time to time, of course, too, but wants to be a force for good in the world. And that's why I first started following Richard in 2016 or 2017. And right after I got into crypto, and I think he's made my life a lot better and helped me think about things in a much more healthy way than I otherwise would have. So appreciate that. He came up with Hex originally. This is his second project, hex.com. Let me go to that just real quick. Just shout it out while I'm talking about it in narrative here, in story. And you do hex mining, which averages, you got to look at the different times. I wouldn't take 38% for some people, maybe 10% for some people, maybe 25% for some people, depending on the length and size and all that stuff. However, it's like a blockchain CD type of thing. You lock your coins up, you get yield based on time, all that stuff. You click on how it works to learn more about it. It's all kinds of videos, huge community, hex.com, lots of testimonials. A lot of people love it. And also when PulseChain forked, you got a copy of that on PulseChain. So that has kind of been the premier token so far on the fork. The copy that's had the most value, as far as I know, has been Hex. And some people think of it as migration. Richard said before that it hasn't. He doesn't see it that way. The community will decide. It's blockchain overall, all that good stuff. So on the PulseChain network, the copied over coins we would usually denote with a P in the front. So P hex, P DAI, P SHIB, P, the different coins, all the stuff there. And if you're talking about Ethereum and you want to be explicit with it, you would say E hex, E SHIB, E DAI, all that stuff. Or just if they're native to the token, you say DAI, refer to other ones as P DAI. It's confusing at first, but then eventually, some people just say hex for Hex on PulseChain because they believe that is the Hex that will succeed. Some people think both will succeed. Maybe they'll be better together. Maybe we'll get a Hex v2 one day and they'll unify both of them, just like what's going on with Hedron, another derivative type ecosystem of Hex, which I won't talk about today. But if you're interested, just Google for Hedron, Hedron, crypto. Find out more about that. Very interesting project. Great founder on that one as well. And you also get a little bit of copy of PLS to transact, which at first wasn't quite enough. There's this whole history of the first 90 days. I don't want to go too deep into it. But when you got, let's see, I can just open up MetaMask. So if I had Ethereum on here and I had Ethereum at the time of the fork, I would have also a little bit of PulseChain in the wallet as well. So I'll get into how to switch networks and connect to it too. But that's just one thing to note. You'd have a copy of all your coins and then a copy of that, but it would be, it would be a very small amount. It wouldn't be like the price that it was in Ethereum and stuff like that. It would just be a little bit, some of those just neat little things that were supposed to help things be easier to transact. However, at the beginning, gas fees were really high. We had the community was spinning up bridges, stuff like that. A lot of stuff's happened in the last 90 days. But again, a lot of good and bad. I think zooming out is the right approach, is the approach I take at least, and seeing what a new network, what amount of promise we have, and what the community we have behind it is just kind of incredible. So I won't go into the technical details. I know a lot of stuff doesn't really matter to a lot of people anyways. It is just this fork of Ethereum. It has all these bells and whistles and interesting things about it, that is made by a guy whose mission is to be successful in glory. And you can read more about that or watch some of my content about it. I made a ton of it so far as well. So I wanted to put up one other link just as that, and then we'll go to pulsechain.com. So it's another guide. This is from Maxi guys who also make awesome products built around Hex and help a lot of PulseChain stuff too. You can read more about that. I'll just drop it in the chat. And talks about middleman, what is blockchain. If you really want the beginnings and try to sort of understand this stuff, this is written by guys who have a lot of nuance, have been around the community, and have built products that do a lot of this stuff, and very, very interesting ideas and innovations as well in this community that we have just building around the products. So what is a hard fork? If you really want to get into the details, what is the difference between Bitcoin and PulseChain? What does it do? And again, this is kind of like at the base level. Thank you for everyone. More private internet, peer-to-peer network, censorship resistance, kind of introduce you to some of the concepts of crypto in general, and then what PulseChain also fulfills as well. What can you do with PLS? Again, we will go to PulseX in a moment. I'll show you about trading. Who runs PulseX? No single entity. You can run a validator. So you have these distributed nodes that are also, a lot of them are also validating transactions, and I'll show you about that in a moment too. Smart contracts, of course, you can build products on it. And then Hex, if you want to learn more about that. So pulsechain.com. First thing, if you want to access PulseChain, is you can just go to pulsechain.com. And then if you just go to add PulseChain to MetaMask, it will ask you, I've already added it before, but before it may say, do you want to add this network? You can click, just read what it says. If you want to add it, click through. And then this one would actually, so I've already added it because I already added it before is talking today. And then this says, do you want to switch networks? So if you've already added it, you can switch network, go from Ethereum mainnet to PulseChain mainnet. And now that you're in PulseChain mainnet, this is like the manual details. We can add stuff in, the block explorer, so you can look at stuff like that. We'll click on that for a moment too. And if you open MetaMask, you can see, instead of being on Ethereum, now you're on PulseChain. So if you did this with your wallet that had coins in around the time of the fork, it's May 12th, May 13th timeframe, you may see you would have a little bit of Pulse, you would have some of your copied over coins, and you would be able to transact with them or get more. Let me quickly go to gopulse.com. This is a place where if you wanted to buy PLS, there's a whole bunch of different ways to do it. This is one of the sites that offers that service, or it has integration for it. So again, GoPulse. Drop that in the chat. And there's also Change Now. There's a whole bunch of different services that allow you to get more PLS and can be sent to your wallet with or without KYC. So while that's loading, and go over to the block explorer, this is where you can search for transactions, just like with Ethereum, but you can see what's going on with PulseChain and look for transactions. And then if you want to go to scan.pulsechain.com, this is another way to look at your wallet, see what coins you have in it, see transactions, look at the different stats of the network, different wallet addresses, and see the stuff that's going through here. And there's a bunch of other features. There's like fee burning and all that stuff too. I'll just click on a quick transaction. And yeah, some of them show more. Let's see. Let me just copy this over just so you can look at it quick. There's auto scan. Okay. Go down here. Yeah, so this is just like you can look at different transactions, shows different stats in different ways. And yeah, if you're interested in looking at that type of stuff and tracing things and seeing how it actually works and the gas prices and EFP 1559 and how that stuff works, feel free. Well, I'm clicking here. Okay. Yeah. So if you want to, again, buy PLS, there's a bunch of different ways to do it. One way, go pulse.com/buy, and you can go from there, and along with a whole bunch of other stats I'm not going to get into now. I click on validators here and leave it and talk about it here in a moment. But boy, we got a lot of people supporting the network out here. 39,500, almost 40K validators. We made a hit it the other day. And just a ton of people around the world who believe in this network. So that's another thing. The community has been critical to getting this thing off the ground and keeping it relevant. And hopefully in the next bull run, we'll see a lot of that hard work pay off as well. So PulseChain.com, you're on the network. You got MetaMask here. You may have coins in there already. If not, you can get coins if you're interested in exchanging. Now,